Hey everyone, it's ABELI and my husband, and we are out on an adventure, like always. And so we actually wanted to give a little bit of a review of our new Garmin that we've had for about a week.
Yeah, about a week's worth of use so far. We ordered it earlier and just haven't turned it on. It's called the inReach Mini 2 by Garmin, and it is effectively a little mini GPS messenger. I would say it's a satellite phone, but you don't make calls from it, but you can send messages. And there's sort of two ways you can do this. You can either use the device. It has sort of like a mini UI on here it's pretty good. I would say it's really more designed to be used in partnership with a mobile phone. So you download the Garmin Explore app and you install that on your phone. Then you pair it via Bluetooth with the inReach Mini 2. And then from there, you can just, use the messaging client inside that app to really send messages with a nice software keyboard instead of using this. But not bad. It's just, it takes really long. If those of you that grew up with like text, where you had to like tap a button 3 times to get to like C, this is worse because you literally have to use this directional arrow to select one letter at a time. Now, that
does sound like a pain.
Right. Now, what's nice is you can use it entirely without a phone. So that's not to say you can. What's nice is you can set up pre-written messages, so you don't have to always type everything out. And
basically making the messages ahead of time before you go on travels. Yeah. So that way it's quicker and you don't have to worry about wasting time.
But there is one thing that I would also stress. So it has an SOS option. That's really why we got it. It's just if we were in an area that we didn't have cellular service and we wanted to get taken care of. But none of this, the SOS stuff, the GPS tracking, none of that works without a subscription plan from Garmin. So don't buy this and then just run off into the woods and think you can just start using it. It does require a subscription plan. Now, what is nice is that it's quite flexible, and I'll pull up some of them from here, but do keep in mind this is, at the time of this video, this may have changed. But basically they have monthly plans and annual plans, and then they also have sort of tiers within those space. Because we do go almost every weekend, we did choose for an annual plan
and then unlimited,
and then we went unlimited. But you can start at a very small sort of safety plan that gives you like 20 messages, and effectively you can just send them, and that's what you're doing. You're paying via text message that it sends.
It's basically what we used to have to do back in the first cell phone days.
Yeah. If you grew up in the 90s, you're fairly familiar with paying via text message. They also do give you a few free messages that you can send, but you can't choose who those go to in the moment. Ahead of time, though, you can plan ahead. So you can say, like, hey, everything's all good, and you choose to send that message to your list of people.
So like emergency numbers,
or
like contacts.
Yeah, if you're going on a hike and you're going on like a 4-day adventure or something longer, you just want to check in with people, you can use this to just send in that check-in message and they'll receive it and everything's fine. Aside from the plans, there's also the SOS functionality, which you get with Garmin, and then you can expand on that if you want. But the SOS one basically means when you pop this little lever here, there's another button in there, and when you press that, that does trigger Garmin. And it uses the Iridium network and all their acronyms and all these different services, but there's sort of a gold standard company that sort of takes care of all of this. It works anywhere in the world because it is on the appropriate GPS satellite network. It's called Iridium, I think, and it works. They've got the entire coverage. As long as you have sky above you, this thing should work. Aside from that, there's also some really fun sort of social features you can have, and we've really found that's to be the most fun, because for us, we're not really putting ourselves in super dangerous situations. Probably the most we'll ever experience is like a flat tire, hopefully as we experienced not that long ago, or if somebody were to get injured on a trail and you just need somebody to come get you. But aside from those things, you can do this tracking service where this thing will send out whatever interval you set, and of course the intervals, if you make it like every 5 minutes, the phone
obviously it'll drain the battery a little bit more.
But 10 minutes gets you about 2-3 days, depending on your tree cover and your sky cover. But what's nice is it'll ping this space, and then you can have a privately saved little map that you can share with people, and you can even label the URL. and you can send it to your friends and family so they can track you, and they can even message you from that service, and you'll receive them on both the device and then of course if you have an associated phone connected. Right. For us, it's totally worth it. It's such a cool little thing. It's not large, doesn't take up any extra space in our bags. It's the peace of mind to let people know where we are, because we do live in an area where we don't have a lot of family. So it's nice to be able to alert people.
Well, and even peace of mind of like if something were to happen, that we have a safety net if we don't have service.
Yeah. One thing that's always sort of recommended is so I always wear my backpack. So this is on me at nearly all times. But you don't just want to put this in the car when you're hiking or...
No, you want it on you.
Yeah, you want it on your person, because if you were to get injured and it's in your backpack and your backpack is back at base camp or at your campsite, that's no good. So you can be a little bit lazy and just sort of clip it right on here, and it stays with you. Typically, a lot of the pants I wear have belt clips, so I'll sort of hook it there. But stuff like that way you're just staying safe. I think we hit on a lot of the key features. I think it really comes down to sort of think of it like an insurance policy. You can choose that's an optional one, right? You can go out in the woods and do whatever you want almost any time.
Right.
But it is a nice thing, and because they do allow a month-to-month sort of plan, think of it like a cell phone. You can just pay the month that you want to use if you're going to go somewhere, and then cancel and turn it off.
Right.
So that is really nice. They do give quite a few options for people that are just going out for maybe a day thing. But yeah, it's always good to be safe.
Or if you have like a trip planned, ahead of time.
Yeah.
It'd be nice that way. But yeah, we have actually used it a couple times just to try it out. And I feel like the messages, they take a few minutes.
Yeah, depending on what sort of connection you have.
You just have to be aware of that.
So yeah, this device obviously does take a little bit of time to communicate back and forth with somebody. It can take upwards of 10 minutes. I've also had it be within a 2-minute span for messages. It really just depends on what sort of service you have based on the GPS satellites. And you got to remember, these messages from here are literally going up into space, back down or bouncing around to the different satellites to then get to sort of that messaging system, and then it's getting sent into the cellular network, and then it's getting sent to whoever you send it to, and then all that vice versa again.
Yep.
So it is a complex system, but it does work.
Which was very nice.
Well, one thing that I wasn't aware of when we got it, I thought we were paying for I really do think of it as a phone plan. Mm-hmm. But the difference is in a phone plan, you get your own number. In this, you do not. So your number actually changes kind of based on where you are in the world. For the communication you're having, so let's say I was to send a message to Abby when she's somewhere else and I'm over there, that message will work. It'll go back and forth for quite a long time. But I have to be the one that initiates it, because it's possible when I hit that satellite or whatever the service is, it will give me a new number again later. So days from now, if she were to message me, it's possible she would not be able to send me because that series of messages has now been sort of terminated, and I now have a new number based on the service. So something to keep in mind. It's not really a huge concern. That was a big fly, bug, and wasp.
The joys of being outside.
Yeah, but overall,
it works really nice.
Fantastic device. You can download maps onto the app, so your phone. There is sort of like a tracking system on here that you can sort of use it as a compass. So if you want to track your location, and then I'm like, oh gosh, I'm lost. How do I get back? For the most part on mountains, it's really not a thing. You can use this as kind of like a compass. Think about the Find My feature on
our
iPhone.
phones.
Yeah, the tag is somewhere else. It doesn't really show up on a map that I can follow, but it kind of tells you, look this way,
which directions,
go that way.
Yep.
So that's really cool. But yeah, overall, what it does really well. Everything else I would say is just extra pieces, but for the core feature, what this thing is designed for, it's a really great little device. We'll continue to do other reviews on these types of tools if you like them. But yeah, just leave us a message if you have questions, or if you want us to do a more in-depth review of the UI or just the overall experience too.
Yeah, if you like this type of content, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll check you guys later. Bye.